All right, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can hook up our login screen to our code and actually have this button do something, okay? Now, I had a student reach out to me on either Twitter or YouTube, I can't remember, and he requested that I make a follow-up video to the last video where I showed you how to build out this screen in storyboards, okay? He wants to have this button actually do something. So let's go ahead and make it do something, okay? So I want to open up the assistant editor by clicking this two circle icon up here, and you'll see this view controller file pop up. If it doesn't, you can select this button up here and go into manual and simple login screen, and view controller.swift. That will pop it up as well. Now, what we want to do here is we want this button to at least print something initially. So let's go ahead and connect it by hitting Control, holding down the Control button and dragging this button above our view did load, dropping it, and let's just say connection is action, and we'll say handle button. Hit return, and you now have a button which we can run some code in, okay? So I'm going to expand this a bit, and in here, I'm just gonna print hello there. I'm gonna recompile my application and we'll see if everything's operational, okay? All right, so it's working, and just a second. All right, let's see. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and click this button, and you'll see it prints at the bottom here, hello there, okay? So I'm sure that that has answered a lot of your questions on how to connect these and type it, but what if we want to change the value? What if we want to change the background color? Well, we can do that really easily too by dragging with Control drag, and instead of selecting outlet this time, or instead of selecting action this time, instead we're gonna select outlet. And we can just call this button, okay? I'm gonna hit return, and then we can now use this as a variable in our view did load. So if we want to change the background color to something like red and then the title color to something like white, we can easily say button.background color is equal to .red and button.set title color is equal to .red with a control state of .normal. It says the normal or default state of a control, that is enabled but neither selected nor highlighted, okay? So that's what the control state is. It's just sitting there, okay? The button hasn't been interacted with. It's not highlighted or clicked, okay? All right, so that should modify our button a bit and make it look a bit better. Or not better, but it's just gonna change it, okay? Now I meant to change it to white, so let's change that to white. The reason we can't see our title anymore is simply because we changed it both to red, so the title blended in, okay? All right, so that should show you how to do that, and that's how you mess around with these variables, okay? Now, what if we want to do something with this text, right? What if we want to click the button and not just print hello there? What if we want to print the email and the password so that ideally we can send it to a database at some point, right? We're not going to do that, but maybe I'll update it with a Firebase video in which you can do that, right? So we want to be able to access the text values in these text fields. So let's Control drag this email above the button, and let's just say email text field. We're gonna go ahead and hit connection and select outlet so that we can just reference it. Let's go ahead and select the password as well and Control drag, and very obviously we're gonna say password text field. Go ahead and select connection and select outlet, and then we wanna hit connect, but I'm sure there's a few of you out there who have mistakenly hit connect on action, right? And then you now have this button and you don't want it, right? Or this code. So you might think, okay, I'll just delete it. And then you compile your application and then it crashes, okay? So I hope a lot of you have got to this point before you got stuck trying to figure it out. But let's go ahead and solve it, okay? So basically you want to right click onto the text field and you want to hit this X to get rid of that, okay? It looks like it didn't crash it. It used to do that in storyboards, but it doesn't now, I guess. But we're gonna hit this X and we're gonna connect it properly this time by Control dragging above our email text field and saying password text field, okay? So I just wanted to include that in there on purpose so that I could help you guys out there who needed to see that, okay? I'm gonna hit connect now as an outlet, and now we can get the values out of here in our handle button function, okay? So we'll say print and we'll say email is, and then I'm just gonna put a comma here and I'll put a colon here and I'll say email text field. We'll say email text, okay? And then we'll copy this and we'll say password is, and then we'll say password text. And then I want to move the email text field above our password text field just because that makes more sense because it's above it in the view. And then now we have to make variables so that we can actually print those variables that don't exist yet. So we'll say let email text is equal to email text field dot text. And then we'll say let password text is equal to password text field dot text. Now we might have to unwrap it. Let's go ahead and compile our application. And it says expression implicitly coerced from string to any, okay? So it might still work, but we'll go ahead and type it out. And then if it doesn't, we're gonna change it. We're gonna change it either way, okay? So let's type in some stuff and then let's hit the button and you'll see it prints it out. It says email is optional and then the text, and then password is optional and the text. The reason it's saying optional is because by default, email text field and password text field, or text fields in general, we don't know if there's text in there, right? By default, there's not text in there. So there could not be text in here. So it's an optional. If you don't know what optionals are, let me know in the Q&A if you want me to create a section on that, and I will update the course with a section on optionals and explaining all about optionals, okay? And there's a chance that I've created it already. Go ahead and check the announcements and see if that section's up, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say guard let email text. Well, we'll say this. We'll say guard let email text is equal to email field.text else return. And then we will do the same thing on this one. Guard let. That's basically just gonna say, okay, if these values exist, continue. If it doesn't exist, we're gonna run return, and we're not even gonna run those bottom two lines of code, all right? Now, the thing that's weird about text fields is that they require you to unwrap them because by default, there's no text in them, right? But if I remember correctly, the way it's actually set up is not how it should be on Apple's side. By default, it actually does have a value of just an empty string. So if we hit button here, you'll see it prints out email is and password is. So really, we just had to unwrap a value, even though it always will have a value. And if that doesn't make sense, don't even worry about it. I'm sure to a few of you it does, but basically we just had to add this code for no reason because by default, it actually does have a value of an empty string. Otherwise it wouldn't have hit this. So it's really strange that you have to do that. Maybe if we delete that and hit button. Yeah, that's weird. But anyway, we can put in an email and then it will print it out. So we'll say maxwell at maxcodes.io, my website, and then I'll say password is, I'll keep that secret. I'll just say Max's password, right? And then I'm gonna hit button. And you'll see that it says email is and password is, okay? And it shows the email and password at the bottom. Now, what if we want this password to be secure? That's when we would go into our code here and we would say password text field dot is secure text entry. And we set that to true. It says identifies whether the text object should disable text copying and in some cases hide the text being entered. Let's go ahead and set is equal to true. And we'll hit return. We'll hit Command R return to compile our application. And we will see if that is secure. All right, email, password. You'll see it now has the dots like a password field should have. Now let's go ahead and print our email again. Let's say maxwell at maxcodes.io. I'm gonna hit button and you'll see it prints it out. Email is maxwell at maxcodes.io and password is password field should have the buttons, right? So that's great. But before I end the video, I wanna get rid of this warning, okay? So it says fixed leading and trailing constraints may cause clipping. One of them should have a constant greater than or equal to standard space, okay? So let's go ahead and close the assistant editor. And let's go ahead and click this yellow arrow up here. And you'll see we have a problem on this. Let's hit that and let's hit confirm. Now you'll see it fixed it, but it caused another error for us, okay? So I'm gonna hit Command Z and then let's see what we can do. Maybe we could center it and get rid of it, or maybe we could hit this fix button again and select this bottom one and hit confirm. And then you'll see it does it to the opposite side, okay? So let's go ahead and let's do this. let's click the button. Let's select this. And then I'm going to select aspect ratio and hit add one constraint. And then I'm going to hit this button and hit confirm. And you'll see it fixes it, okay? So let's go back to our code. And let's just recompile our application. And everything should be great. And it should be printing our text. And it should be, yeah, printing our text and having the button work, right? That was the whole point of this video. Let's look at it. Okay, looks good. And it prints it out, okay? So that's it for this video. And I'll see you all in the next video I make. All right, see you in just a second.